Okay, I'm back. I just need to go get another beer, really. So there were a couple other things that I wanted to mention that I forgot to talk about in part one of the video. Just kidding. I love this beer though. So, I mentioned the Samsung 850 EVO SSD that I'm using for my boot drive, 500 gigabyte. I mentioned the Western Digital Black M.2 NVMe SSD that I'm using for my Steam library. I forgot to mention the Western Digital Black 1 terabyte HDD hard drive disk, just standard, super fast WD black drive, which is for media files. I'm probably gonna get another bigger one, but it'll probably be just an external drive for more media files because 4K files are huge. So yeah, I need a lot of storage. So I'm gonna be getting at least a 4 terabyte, probably external hard drive for media files in the near future, along with my upgraded speakers and upgraded monitor, ultra wide, and then that's it. And besides that, a computer is an investment. I was pretty sure that I'm gonna be YouTubing for a long time, whether or not I'm ever a financial success at it. It's just a hobby that I love. I love doing it. I love creating content. I love learning the process of video editing. I really love doing my podcast. So check that out. I'm gonna have episode number 24 up, hopefully within the next week or two. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about, as far as my parts go for this build, was just my mouse pad, which you can see right here is huge, which I love because I have long ass arms that reach all the way over here. So that way I can get as close or as far away from this thing as I want to, and I start gaming, I can go all the way around everywhere, all across the damn map with this thing, and I'm always on the pad. And besides that, my beautiful desk that I'm so proud of and I love so much isn't exactly perfectly flush. So, I mean, you know, this smooths it all out. So, oh, and the mouse pad also, if you didn't notice, has these kickstands for a cell phone. 2 of them actually, one there and one here, which I'm digging the most. So you have that as well. Okay, so the actual PC build experience. What do I want to say about that? If you're new like I am and you're thinking about building a PC, there's a few things you need to know. Number one, I already mentioned that money can be no object. So my advice to you is pick a budget and stick to it as tightly as you can, because you can get way out of control really, really fast. My second piece of advice is, if you're thinking about building a computer, build a computer, because while it was one of the most frustrating, complicated, aggravating, enraging, anger-inducing things I've ever done in my life, it was also one of the most fulfilling. I'm super proud of my computer back there. I feel just full of happiness whenever I walk into a room and I look at it. It's like I had a baby or something like that. I did that. It's awesome. I built it. It's finally done. It works. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. Third piece of advice, do uber research on every little thing. If you have a question about something, look it up. If you don't have a question about something, think of a question about it and look it up. Watch YouTube videos, go on Reddit and read articles on stuff. go on forums, compare prices, read articles, Google everything that you possibly can about it, because I can guarantee you in the end, you're still not going to find out everything that you need to know. And it's going to be a whole lot of trial and error and headache. 2 quotes, 2 actual quotes that I said during the process of putting together my computer. One of them, actually both of them, were to my buddy who happened to stop by while I was in the process of putting the thing together, which took 3 solid days to get this thing from the pile of parts to what it is right now. It took 3 solid, at least 12-hour days of work to get it to work, because of problems that I'm going to talk about that I ran into that I didn't expect. And those 2 quotes were, number 1 was, this thing, meaning the computer back there, is about to be on her coffee table, meaning the lady in the apartment next door to me, because I was angry enough to throw that thing through the wall and it was going to land on her coffee table and just be her computer. That didn't work. That's how mad I was. I said that and I meant it. I was furious when my buddy happened to stop over because of how frustrated I was with trying to build this thing. The second quote was, I will never do this again. And when I said it, I meant it. And what I meant was, I will never build another computer again. I've changed my mind since then. Since I figured out all my problems and ironed them out and got the thing running, I'm super ecstatic and I'm ready to build another one already. I've been trying to get other people to build them so that I could help them with it, just because I want to do it again. I don't have money to do another one. I don't have a need for another one right now, but I got past all the hard shit and I'm ready to, and just, I'm proud, I'm happy, I'm excited, and I learned the lessons I needed to about building a computer, and I'm ready. I'm into it. I'm a geek anyway, but damn it, I'm telling you, I've never been that frustrated in my life. So those are 2 actual quotes. This thing's gonna be on her coffee table in a minute because I'm gonna throw it through the fucking wall, and I'm never doing this again. I got through it. Now I'm happy. Oh, I was saying before though, yeah, this monitor has damn good resolution. It's only 1080, but I mean, if you watch a 4K video and it down upscales or whatever, downscales, it looks pretty friggin', look at that. That looks good. It looks very, very good for the price, and it's a 27, which is a good size. I'm happy with that. Okay, so a few things I wanted to mention about this PC build experience. Okay, well, first off, putting the thing together was pretty straightforward. I watched so many videos on that. That's why I didn't make my own video on the actual build of the computer, because there are 10 zillion of them out there. If you want to watch that, I recommend going to a dude named Bitwit, Bitwit on YouTube. I'm pretty sure he does a new build at least once a month. There's another dude named J2Cents. I believe he does a build at least once a month. There's another dude named Science Studio, I think. He does builds all the time. There's a million zillion professional level builders out there making videos on the YouTubes and the internets and the World Wide Webs. That's terrific. It's terrific. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I had no problems putting the thing together physically, the actual physical part of it. And when I hit that power button for the first time, hallelujah, amen, whatever, rejoice, the thing fired right up. All that RGB goodness back there came to life. Fans were all running smooth and just, it was beautiful, and I was so happy. Yes, it did take a long time for me to put everything together. Cable management inside the case, The case is awesome for that, but it doesn't matter. There are so many cables involved with making a PC build. Holy shit. You really got to prepare yourself for that. That's a monster of his own. But got through all that. I was happy joy to that point, no problem. And then I went and I plugged in the HDMI cord from the computer to the TV, and I got no signal. And I could not figure the problem out. And that's when I ended up at Walmart and bought that monitor. Brought it back, still no signal, and that's where the problems started. So I knew the thing had power. Everything was working, but I had no video signal. It took a lot of research on the internet for me to find out that a lot of the time your computer automatically defaults to your graphics card's video out, which this one did, and that was a problem. I had the HDMI cord going to the rear I/O on the motherboard. I took it out and I put it in the HDMI out of the graphics card. Got a signal on the monitor. Now I have a monitor, whatever, it's great. That problem was solved. That was the first problem. Second problem, the computer went to BIOS and would never boot to Windows. I installed Windows 700 times and I could get it to load Windows going through BIOS. It always booted to BIOS. It would never jump over that. What's supposed to happen is after you load Windows, then you tell it, load Windows from this drive. It's supposed to skip BIOS, or if BIOS runs in the background, you don't see it, and it's supposed to load Windows and present Windows to you. It never presented Windows to me. In order to get Windows, I had to go through BIOS and then go through it and then click load Windows basically, and it would do it. And then I had a whole nother slew of problems once I was in it, but I couldn't get it to go straight to Windows. I found out that that was because, well, I'll get to that. So that was a problem. Another problem, I was trying to use the M.2 drive as my boot drive, but I was getting all sorts of error messages about corrupted files and all kind of shit, and so I decided to take the M.2 drive offline, disconnect it, and boot from my SATA drive, the Samsung Evo or whatever. And I had limited success with that, but then every time I plugged the M.2 back in and restarted the computer, it reverted back to the M.2 looking to boot from that, and I couldn't figure that out. The boot order in BIOS was a motherfucker, okay? I got the blue screen of death 91 times, give or take. I had every possible error message in the blue screen of death. If you don't know what that is, it's your screen turns blue in the middle of whatever you're doing, and you get a frowny face on there, and it says, sorry, you suck, and your computer sucks even more, bye, and it just shuts down. That is the most frustrating, infuriating thing about the whole thing, that blue screen of death. Oh my goodness. And it gives you these codes like, ugh. And I looked up all the codes, and they're all slightly different, but very vague. And in the end, it's just basically like, yeah, your computer sucks. Wait, what do you want us to do? Nah, fix it. Vague. And I mean, I'm going on Reddit and subreddit and deep web Reddit to figure out these problems. My Windows, I think I mentioned already, was an old ass version of Windows on that flash drive that came with it, or that boot drive. I struggled to find an updated version to put on the computer. The only way that I was able to get an actual current version of Windows and use my product key to get it and download it and put it on the computer was through Windows Defender, which basically said, hey, we see you're having trouble with Windows. Let's put a fresh copy on with the newest shit. I had to go through, I don't even know how I figured that out. But Windows was a huge problem for me. It kept downloading or uploading or whatever old ass versions and then updating corrupted files, and then I was going in and having to do system file scanners, which was telling me, yeah, you have a bunch of bad files, do you want me to fix them? I mean, it was unbelievable. Anyway, did I mention it took me 3 whole days to get this thing to work? All right, we'll get to that. The Thermaltake software for the RGB lighting on my liquid cooler sucked ass, would not load, froze up, locked the computer up. The Asus Aorus software for controlling the RGB lighting on the motherboard and the lights that came with the case and all that sucked ass, would not work. I couldn't find that. I found out later on that you have to, there's no way to get that without registering the product. Like, there nowhere on the Asus website is there a thing that says, hey, oh, do you want that? Oh, well, here, it's over here. No, you have to register your product and then click in this menu and then in this menu and then in this menu and then over there and then it's way over there. Oh, you wanted the program for the lighting on your motherboard? Oh yeah, it's over here. No problem. And then once I downloaded that, it still sucked. I had to flash my BIOS, which all the videos and articles that I researched on it all warned, like, hey, you could possibly totally basically destroy your motherboard by doing this. Do you really want to do it? It took me a whole lot to get to the point of doing that, but I did it and it was a success. But I mean, talk about the stress of trying to decide whether or not to do that. It sucked ass. I installed, uninstalled, and then reinstalled Windows from that computer literally probably at least 40 times. No joke. I took out, the computer was telling me that I had like serious hardware issues, which I determined were coming from the RAM modules, and I was like, oh shit, I have a bad RAM module, or some bad RAM modules, or a bad RAM memory slot on a motherboard. Excuse me. What I had to do to pinpoint that problem, I have four sticks of RAM, okay? I had to boot the computer with each RAM stick one at a time. I had to boot it with this one, turn it off, boot it with this one, turn it off, boot it with this one, turn it off, boot it with that one, turn it off. And not just boot it, but do some things to make sure that the RAM was working correctly. Then I had to move each RAM stick from the first slot, boot it, shut it down, to the second slot, boot it, shut it down, to the third slot, boot it, shut it down, to the fourth slot, boot it, shut it down. With all four sticks. Do you get what I'm saying? So 4 sticks of RAM that I had to boot and shut down in 4 slots. That's 16 boots and reboots, right? Is that the math? I don't know. To make sure that all the RAM sticks were actually functional and that all of the RAM slots on the motherboard were functional. And then I found out that they all were. There was no RAM hardware malfunction. So I'm like, okay, well, what's the malfunction? It's not the motherboard, it's not the RAM. And when I did Windows memory checker or whatever it's called, that's what it was telling me. It was saying your RAM sucks, dude. I'm like, I tested the RAM, it all works. Now what? Well, 500 videos and Reddit articles later, I found out that sometimes you have to overclock your RAM to get it to work correctly. I'm like, what? In my BIOS, the RAM was set to 2400. 2400 is what, I just had the RAM. Anyway, I just had the packaging for it. I put it away already. Where was it? I'm sorry, my battery just died. Where was I? Oh yeah, so all my RAM was working. It turns out you have to overclock the RAM. It was 2400 megahertz RAM. I thought if you ran it at 2400 megahertz, it's fine. No, with the Ryzen architecture, apparently it wants it way higher, as high as you can get it. I don't know what it's set to now. I did it through the BIOS. It has an automatic system overclocker procedure system doohickey built into the BIOS. All you gotta do is hit the button. Once you flash the BIOS, which I did I mention that? Yes, I had to flash the BIOS, put a whole new BIOS deal in there. Check that. I thought I had a blue screen of death for a second. Oh my goodness, that scared the shit out of me. I had to flash the BIOS. I had to do BIOS updates and shit. Once I did that, and then I went into the Asus automatic, I forget what it's called, it's like automatic overclocker shit. You click the shit in there and it says you want to overclock it. I'm like, yeah, and I did it, and then boom, it worked fine. I don't know what it's set to, like I said, but apparently this RAM, you can run it at 3000 plus megahertz. I did not know that. I knew it was overclockable. I knew it was pretty fast. I mean, it's the low end of fast RAM, but it can be overclocked to be very fucking fast. I did not know that you have to do that in order for it to work. Nobody tells you this shit. So that was 2 of my problems solved. So the thing would go straight to a screen which basically said hit what was it, F1 for BIOS, which was another problem. I was watching Paul's Hardware, 10 things to do, or the first things to do after you build a PC, and he kept saying, oh, you have to go in, you turn the computer on, you hit F10. I'm hitting F10 until my finger turns numb and black and blue and shit, and it isn't doing nothing. My motherboard doesn't work with F10. Nobody told me that. It said on the screen though, hit F1. I gotta hit F1 for my BIOS. Every time I had booted this thing, I was getting an error message that I saw but didn't pay attention to, and it was telling me CPU fan error, and I just ignored it basically every time. I had the wrong thing plugged into the wrong thing on the motherboard, and that's why it would not boot Windows. It was saying, no, asshole, you need to fix this first. I fixed that, and that was another one of my huge problems solved. Another problem that I had was I was trying to download, once you get the thing working and it's finally up and running, you have to download all your drivers for different things like your chipset and your LAN and your just a whole bunch of stuff. And I was doing that, and I downloaded all of them at once and then restarted the computer. And it doesn't like that. You should certainly download them one at a time and restart the computer every time you do that. I didn't know that. I thought you could just download all the shit and just restart it once and it would just do everything. Nah, that makes it suck a lot. Okay, so I was also having an issue with the M.2 drive. Apparently the M.2 PCIe connection can be shared with another PCIe lane on your motherboard, which would be with one or more of your SATA connections. Okay, so what I'm saying is if you plug in an M.2 on your motherboard, it can shut down one or two of the SATA connections on your motherboard, which is where you connect your other normal SSDs and other stuff. I believe that was one of the things that was happening, which was why my computer just did not like having that M.2 drive in there. So I ended up finally getting Windows to work on the Samsung SSD, and I was like, well, I guess there's just something wrong with this M.2 drive. But no, somewhere deep in the files of Reddit, I found like one guy who said, no, yeah, you need to check your motherboard schematics basically, and it'll tell you that your M.2 drive can, if you plug it in, then it may or may not shut down like lane 1 and lane 2 of your SATA connections. I had everything plugged into the same lane basically on the motherboard, and once I fixed all that, then the problems went away. But I already had the boot files and Windows and everything on my SATA SSD from Samsung. Ugh. And so that's where it's gonna stay. So long story short, the M.2 drive, which I'm still excited about. I mean, the thing is this big by this big, and it's super thin, and it's like the fastest part of the computer, and it was not that expensive, and I like that, and I'm gonna put all my games on there. It's only 256 gigabytes, but I'm not gonna do that much PC gaming anyway, so it should be perfect. But I had planned on using that for my boot drive, but it doesn't matter because this computer, that SSD from Samsung is fast as hell. The long story long of all the PC build experiences, that I encountered so many problems that I just simply wasn't prepared for, and it was so ultra super duper frustrating and I was never gonna quit, but like I said, I had said that I will never do this again. What is that? I don't know. Anyway, I'm noticing new buttons on my new computer, or excuse me, on my new camera. I'm fascinated with my new camera. I love it. I don't know what this picture quality is like at the moment, but yeah, I'm so glad to have an actual proper mirrorless 4K video rig with actually a Rode microphone on top too. How's that sound coming through? Yeah, so I had a whole lot of problems with this computer, but now it's working and I'm super happy. If you're thinking about doing it, you should do it. If you have questions, if I can help, I'd be happy to. But wow, was it an asshole getting that thing together. But see, now since I have this little bit of knowledge from the experience that I had, I'm anxious to share it. So once again, if you have questions, ask me. I'm happy to help. So let's open up a program here. Let's go hit film 4. Boom, it's up very fast. That was very fast. Very fast compared to my other computer. New project, boom. 4K, ultra high definition, 30 frames per second. Start editing, boom. Okay, here we go. So this is our viewer screen, this is our trimmer screen, this is our timeline, this is our media files. I'm going to go ahead and drag in a couple of these videos of me in this PC build experience and doing some stuff into the program. Put it in a timeline right there. I'm going to go ahead and kill preview mode because it just sucks and there's just no reason for it. But then I'm going to go ahead and change the size on that to extra large and the size on this to extra large, no problem. But as you can see here, we have full resolution in the viewer and in the trimmer. Let's go ahead and hit play. That's yours truly.
Hey, what's up, y'all? So here's the deal. Hey, what's up, y'all? I decided to make my own desk.
The sound sucks, but let's do some scrubbing. Let's see if I can go through this pretty back and forth and back and forth. And see, at this point, if I was trying to do this, it's not exactly perfect, but if I was trying to do this on my laptop with full resolution in this window right here, that's perfect. That's basically what would happen. The computer would freeze up just like that. Wow, look at my teeth. All right, let's not look at my teeth.
Sounds like that. Ah!
I don't know what the hell that was, but anyway, yeah, so I got my scrubbing in a timeline, no problem. I got full resolution up here, no problem. Normally on my laptop, I would have to have this thing cut down to a quarter, which just makes it look like shit and actually makes it more difficult to edit in order to be able to do this. But shit, even at a quarter, the resolution looks good. That's interesting. So anyway, let's get rid of this. Drag in another video. This is just me sanding. Do you see how smoothly and effortlessly this file comes over here? Did you see how fast I popped up? Watch this. Boom. It's right there. If I try that on my laptop, it just doesn't happen that fast or smooth. It like takes about 10 seconds and then it appears here. So long story short, this is making me very happy. This is me sanding the domino pieces to make the desk. Let's just do a little scrubbing. Boom. Good. Boom. Good. No problem. No lag. No delays. I can go back here, hit play. 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 Okay. This is all 4K video, by the way. Delete that one. Let's pull this one in. What is this? Oh, this is me, my first video of me talking about my computer parts. Let's see what I've got to say here.
Meeting windows, all that shit.
Oh, shut up. Oh, let's scrub forward a little bit. Hit play. Instant. Let's hit play. Instant. Let's hit play. No problem. Super clock. You get the point. What I want as far as video editing, I got right there. No lag. full resolution up here, full resolution over here.
That shit. Don't believe it.
Can I do both at the same time?
This is the main reason why I had to buy it. You can build a PC for $500. This, because when I bought this,
no problemo. I love it. You understand? Okay, let's get out of hit film for a second. Let's see how long it takes to open a big program like, I don't know, let's say Photoshop. 1, 2, 3, open. Wow. That's pretty impressive. That's extremely fucking fast. Close that. Okay, let's see if I open two at the same time. How about iTunes, Photoshop? Boom and wow. Wow. iTunes came up in less than a second. Is Photoshop open? Yes, it is. Did you catch that? Let's close that. Let's do it again. They're both closed. You can see it's right there. I'm gonna hit them at the same time. Photoshop then iTunes. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Photoshop, iTunes. Boom. iTunes up. Is Photoshop up? Yes, it is. Boom. That's pretty fucking fast. Let's go back on the internet. And this is basically just a test of the Wi-Fi card, which I have, which I'm telling you is awesome. That popped up pretty damn fast. Okay, let's open a tab and open another 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 tab. All right, let's open the Weather Channel and let's go over here and open Netflix and let's go over here and open Facebook and let's go over here and open LinkedIn. Let's go over here and open this, whatever this is. Boom, that's open, that's open, that's open, that's open, that's open. What'd I say? I said the news, Netflix, it's open, Facebook's open. We need something here. Pandora, that's open. Boom, instantly. This computer is blazing fucking fast. That's all I needed out of it. So in a nutshell, I'm super happy with my new computer. You should build one if you were thinking about it. The first thing you need to do in your life is help me out by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. Just because I need you to, because I need more subscribers. 30's not enough. So hit that subscribe button, hit the share button, hit the like button if you like it, but the share and the subscribe are way more important. Build yourself a PC if you're thinking about it. Talk to me about it. We can compare notes. I can tell you about anything that I'm doing in the future, and any questions that you have that I may be able to answer, I'll be more than happy to. The next video that you can look forward to from me is going to be probably something on this camera that I'm recording on right now, which I'm just in love with, like it's my woman or something. I love this thing. It is awesome. It's a Panasonic Lumix G85, which shout out to Joker Productions on his YouTube page. He's the one who, I believe, talked about it, and basically that's where I got the info, and I was like, yeah, that's the camera that I want. It's very affordable for a mirrorless 4K video camera with awesome autofocus and all the features that it has. Link in the description. Thanks for watching. Till next time, peace.
La 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 la